Hello everybody, croeso and welcome to the first of quite a few talks that I'm going to do around the menopause. Now, if you've ever done a Facebook Live with me before, you'll know that Facebook can be a bit narky. So what I'd like you to do, if possible, if you're watching, is to say hello or a thumbs up, anything like that. So what happens is that kind of wakes up the Facebook page. I'm going to go onto my phone at the same time and check that I am live because, we really need to be live together. And I've come on just a couple of minutes early just to see. Okay, so I can see that I'm live. So that's fine. All right. So today we are going to start our talks. I'm going to do 6 talks altogether and 1 day in person. And the day in person is going to be in my own home village. Sorry if that's inconvenient, but it's a lovely place to visit. Hello, Kath. Hiya, Donna. And some of you might have heard this talk already. Some of you might want to have a refresher because I always find every time I'm going through the menopause information, I just keep coming up with things kind of going like, why is it that there's not more information out there? And today I gave a talk to a business in the area about menopause and health. And we had a look at, the way that health is influenced through the menopause and why that is, but more importantly, what we can do about it. And somebody says, yeah, but when you go on social media, there's so many different things about. And I agree, there's loads of different things out there. So what I'm going to tell you is kind of based around my own experience, but mainly based around the research that's out there. As you well know, I'm married to an academic, so I've got to keep on my toes with that. So welcome to everybody. Hello, everybody. All right, so I'm going to get started. This is going to be recorded and placed onto YouTube, so if you ever want to go back and listen to it, please do. So menopause is a part of life. All right, we all got to go through it. There's no escaping it. You can't decide when you're going to go through it or how you're going to go through it, but you can, once you are started on that journey, use things to help you along the way. Now, I have to say, when I read some of this stuff, I always think like it sounds quite patronizing, but then when you dig deeper into the research, you kind of see the logic. Now, I'm a very logical, practical person, and I want to give you very specific tips and tricks about this because I just think it's really important. So if we kind of look at what is, I'm going to put my glasses on because if you've ever been on in my talks, you know I write a script. So here we go. So World Menopause Day itself is the day that I'm going to do in person, which is on the 18th of October. And that is held worldwide in order to raise awareness of menopause. And this is run by a company called the International Menopause Society, the IMS. This year, each year they pick a theme to focus on to do with menopause. This year, which I find fascinating because this is what I do in my job all the time, is called lifestyle medicine. And what they're saying is we, as women, have the ability to create our own medicine to improve our health and well-being through lifestyle change. It sounds bonkers, but try and remember this. Most of the research into sports science only started in like the 1960s, and I was born in 1962, so it's quite new research. Come forward a few hundred years, well, 25, not 100 years, a few 10 years, most of the research has been done on men. And it's only in the past 10 to 20 years that we've started to see research around females and the way that females interact and the way that hormones influence our health in particular, rather than saying like, well, let's take alcohol units. So alcohol units were based on an 18-year-old man, and they said, well, women are smaller, they need this many units. No testing done. So much of the research now is based around females. There are 6 key areas that the International Menopause Society is highlighted. So I'm going to give a talk on each specific area, but I'm also going to address some of the questions. So these are to do with eating, being active, sleeping well, stress management, what they call avoiding harmful substances. That means, smoking, drinking, whatever. But also, and this is a really fascinating thing, making social connections. Social connections has seen to be a real game changer in anybody's health, whether you're male or female, young or old. This is a big game changer. So before we go and have a look, at the particular lifestyle medicines, I'm going to go through some facts and figures. You can sit and listen, you can have a cup of tea, you can put your feet up, you don't have to do anything much at all. These are based around research that's been done recently over the past maybe 5 or 6 years. And what they talk about is the sudden awareness that women are living longer. So we reckon at the moment 51% of the population are peri or postmenopausal women in the UK. That's around 13 million people. The menopause happens when estrogen starts to diminish. Now, this starts to change in different ways. If you are somebody who is active and healthy, maybe you're on the pill or you've got the coil, you've had a couple of children, you eat well, you exercise, you've got a happy life, your menopausal journey is very different to somebody who maybe has never exercised because they were told girls don't go to the gym, or were made fun of at school, or who maybe are slightly overweight and eat the wrong things for menopause, or have never had any children, or who smoke heavily, or who've got asthma, or who've had cancer and they've had chemotherapy and radiotherapy that might have disturbed their ovarian function, or they've had a surgical removal. Maybe they've had a hysterectomy, maybe they've got endometritis, and they've gone like, what we need to do, you've got fibroids, we're going to take your womb out. But without telling them, once the womb is removed from the body, your ovaries don't function in the same way, and you're more likely to go into an early menopause. So an early menopause starts when we're under the age of 45. And if you're somebody who's had an early menopause, what that means for you is that you're longer without estrogen. And estrogen for females is a hugely important hormone that is in every single cell in our body, from our brain to our skin, to our gut, to our muscles, to our bones. And it influences our health and well-being, and how we respond to exercise, how we respond to food, how we respond to stress. And the longer you're without the estrogen, the more impact that has on your health. So you need to look at yourself. You need to look at, what did my mum go through? What did my sister go through? What kind of things am I bringing? Have I done any exercise? Have I been to the gym? Do I eat well? Am I a fussy eater? Do I have an eating disorder? Do I have asthma and I take inhalers? All of these things impact on our health. We know that before we enter menopause, in a natural state, we will have a pre-menopause. It's called the perimenopause for women who've had maybe cancer treatment at the early age of 30, so maybe you've had breast cancer or bowel cancer, where you've had chemotherapy or radiotherapy. That might happen earlier. Think about when you have your period. In the week leading up to your period, you feel very different to the week after your period. Certain things happen. You maybe get more spots, or you don't sleep as well. You maybe have BO. You maybe feel really tired, or you want to eat sugary things. And this is because our hormone profile changes. It is the same in menopause. And it is almost like having PMS for 6 to 10 years. And we see this gradual fluctuation in estrogen where we see the more severe visible symptoms. But when we have stopped our periods for 1 year and 1 day, we are then in menopause for the rest of our lives. We are not finished with menopause, we're finished with perimenopause. We are then menopausal. And the lack of estrogen continues to diminish fairly rapidly until by the time we're 80, we probably haven't got much estrogen at all. If you've had your ovaries removed, like I had both my ovaries removed at the age of 50, my estrogen profile would be similar to an 8-year-old. So my body aged 30 years within a couple of weeks. That causes far more trauma than somebody who's active and healthy and on the pill. And this is why you get this kind of disparity between some people kind of going like, yeah, but it's natural and it's fine and, you know, everything's okay and, you know, it's empowering. And for some people it is, okay? Thank goodness for that, because that's how menopause should be. But for many of us, surgical intervention is a very common thing for females. Surgical intervention to deal with heavy periods, or, you know, if you want to have your fallopian tubes tied or anything like that. We never told about menopause. I had both my ovaries removed. I had that much information when I left the hospital. Nothing. Absolutely zero. I had to do my own research, and it was my anger about how badly women are treated in terms of their health and well-being and the consequences of hormonal health on our well-being that made me write the course. So I've written a level 3 course with YMCA. It's been shortlisted as Outstanding Course of the Year. I'm going to be teaching it to fitness instructors from next week. It is my desire to share information with you, because 1 in 4 women will have very few symptoms. And I'm so glad, because that's what all women should have. Few symptoms. Menopause is easy. 3/4 of people will have symptoms that influence them, whether that's in perimenopause, those hot flushes where you are unable to control your body temperature, where when you have heated up too much, your body goes into huge stress mode and says like, if you heat your body up anymore, you will die. Let's make you sweat. And you sweat so much you have to change the sheets, maybe once, twice a night. And then you're expected to go to work the next day and be fully functioning, because it's quite funny that somebody's having a hot flush or has got a fan by them. 1 in 4 women will have debilitating symptoms. Did you know that the highest rate of suicide for women is in perimenopause? Because there's not much support or recognition out there. People joke about it. People are better these days. But can you imagine that more women kill themselves in the perimenopausal stage, and yet nobody has thought to step in and intervene? 3/4 of all divorces happen in perimenopause. Why are women made to struggle through this phase? And what can we do about it? It's the kind of anger that really drove me to find out more. Okay, I'm nobody special. I just went online and I was like going like, what's out there? And I was shocked. So I did my dissertation on the menopause. And I didn't get a very good mark. And now I know why. Because I focused on how women should behave, not how the menopause influences the women and why they change behaviour. So my dissertation was around the psychological aspects of menopause and to look at ways to encourage women to exercise using what was known as the self-determination theory. Now, spookily enough, The self-determination theory is lifestyle medicine. So I feel I'm in a good place and I'm very happy to talk to you about it. Did you know that estrogen communicates with your endocrine system? So your endocrine system is a system of hormones. Your brain and your endocrine system work together, okay? So your endocrine system is all to do with hormones and neurotransmitters, and they regulate the hormones in your body. Not only estrogen, all of the hormones. Cortisol, dopamine, any of those things, okay? It's also anti-inflammatory. So it mitigates any kind of joint pain, okay? Because if you go through menopause, all of a sudden you start aching and you don't know why. It regulates energy metabolism. Now we're going to talk about this in Belly Fat on Saturday morning at 10. But it influences two hormones. These two hormones are called leptin and ghrelin. Leptin and ghrelin are hormones that help our brain make us do things. All right, so leptin hormone kind of says to the brain, I'm really hungry, go and find me some food. The brain goes, you are hungry, you need to go and find food. And you, as a human, will seek out food, okay? Because otherwise you die, all right? So human is designed to look for food when the hunger hormone strikes. You then have another hormone that makes you feel satisfied with the meal that you've had. Now, in your life, you might think, oh, I'm a bit hungry, I'll have breakfast. Or you might think, oh, I'll have lunch, or I'll have it in half an hour, I'll have it in an hour. Not when you're in menopause, because these hormones are controlled by estrogen. And all of a sudden, they are dysfunctional. So you feel hungry even after you've eaten. You are not satisfied, even though you've had a 3-course meal, you're still looking for something else to eat. This kind of hormonal change in our body means that we crave more fats and sugars. We can't absorb protein in the same way. We can't absorb minerals in the same way. We may eat the same. We may exercise the same, and we will put on weight. 75% of all women in menopause put on weight. The 25% don't are probably those who have gone through natural menopause with good foundations as they entered it. The other thing that estrogen affects is your brain development and the aging of your brain. Have you ever been on any of those machines where they weigh you and they kind of go, you have a metabolic age of somebody who is bleh. Your brain age relates to how you react to information you're given. When you're in menopause, your brain goes on a walk. It can't remember words. It goes, what's that word? What's that word? And your brain just goes like, computer says no. You walk into a room and you don't know why. You'll park your car somewhere and you can't remember where it is, or you can't find your car keys, or you can't remember somebody's name, or you can't remember your password to get into your computer. Or somebody tells you something and you go like, I'm sure I'm supposed to be doing something today, what was it? And you were supposed to be in a meeting. This brain aging influences part of the brain called the hippocampus. In females, we have more grey matter, which is part of the hippocampus. Males have more white matter. The hippocampal volume, so think of it like a cup full of something, is influenced by lifestyle. When you fill your cup, they're talking about your hippocampus. When you cannot pour from an empty cup, they're talking about your hippocampus. Your hippocampus helps you to learn, helps you to remember, helps you to regulate emotion. So when you are going through menopause and your hippocampus doesn't behave in the same way, you lose short-term information. You forget things quickly. Now your hippocampus takes short-term memory and converts it to long-term memory. Okay, so you might be able to type. I certainly noticed in perimenopause my typing skills were a bit more clunky than they used to be. You might find that hippocampal volume means you're more at risk of dementia. The influence on brain health is shocking. We know that more women than men have Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's only now we're linking it to menopause and how long women have been in menopause. If you're someone like me who has had no ovaries, we are more than double the chance of having dementia compared to somebody going through a natural menopause. Did you know lifestyle medicine can increase hippocampal volume in 4 ways? Number 1, the food that you eat. The more natural your food, okay, whether you're digging it out of the soil or cooking it from fresh or eating something that hasn't been touched in any chemical process, gives you more hippocampal volume. Number 2, exercise. When we exercise, we target our hormonal system, for example, dopamine. So dopamine makes us more coordinated, makes us feel good about life, makes us feel excited, makes us feel, conscious thought is aware. It boosts our hippocampal volume. Number 3 is sleep. Sleep deprivation is one of the kind of triggers for health that they've highlighted as a lifestyle intervention. It's not something you need to sit back and kind of go like, oh yeah, I don't sleep. No, you kind of say like, not sleeping is going to make me more at risk of dementia. What can I do about it? And the final thing is the social interactions. Because when we connect with other humans, whether you're joining in the talk here, whether you're making comments in the chat, whether you're telling your friend about what you've learned today, that connection fires up your brain and improves your hippocampal volume. So why is sleep such a thing? Within your brain, you have your head and then your brain. And in between, you have a membrane. And in between the membrane and the brain, you can overnight increase a gap that allows cerebral spinal fluid to go through the brain and clear out any plaque. Now, I've done a post about this saying like, if you brush your teeth to get rid of plaque, you need to brush your brain. Increased plaque means increased chances of having dementia. Do you want to live at 80 in a nursing home that is costing you and your family money, being fed and wearing a nappy? I don't want to be there. I don't know about you. That is not a lifestyle choice I want to choose. And if that means I have to choose to maybe be a little bit more strict with how I am living my life now in order to prevent that, I'm in. Just bring it in, because my dad had dementia for over 10 years and it was a horrible experience to see. I'm not doing that journey, and I'm not letting my kids see me do that journey either. So the plaque buildup on the brain is directly linked to lack of sleep, because the cleaning of the plaque off the brain happens in a particular part of the sleep cycle called deep sleep. Now, we need 1 to 2 hours of deep sleep per night, and a minimum of 7 hours, and probably better at 9 hours, to be able to reduce the plaque buildup on your brain. I like to think of it like the plaque on my teeth, because I'm a visual person. So imagining bits stuck to my brain that's stopping my brain working and trying to clean it by sleeping works for me. If it works for you, great. How do we sleep better? If you've had kids, you know what to do. Okay, you have a routine where you kind of go through the stages. You know, you turn the lights down low, you read a story, you say goodnight, you say it's time for sleep. But there's other things that we can do. We can do deep breathing, we can do relaxation, we can do exercise in the day. All of these things help. Understanding that we have this ability to kind of say, no, I'm not going to just sit back and be a passenger in my menopausal journey. I'm going to do something about it. I'm not going to exercise because, you know, I should exercise. I'm not going to exercise because I want to fit into a pair of trousers from weeks ago. There's a reason why you do want to fit into your pair of trousers, but we'll talk about that. You're going to exercise for your brain health. We're going to talk on Saturday about the weight gain because it is an issue that really frustrates women, because everything you've done in the past doesn't work, and 75% of women experience weight gain during the menopausal transition and post-menopause. That fat storage accumulates around the belly, and this is something to do with estrogen. So the less estrogen you have, and the longer you've had less estrogen, the more prone you are to increasing what's called intra-abdominal fat. The lack of estrogen means that when you exercise, you are 20% less able to access your fat stores. Your heart works 20% slower. And so you cannot exercise at the same level. Every time you exercise, it feels like more of an effort. You become slower. Some of this is natural aging, but much of it is to do with hormones. And when we start to look at these, we can start to see that there are kind of four main areas where the body changes. Two of them have now been categorized to be specific to menopause. Number one is called the cardiometabolic syndrome of menopause. Cardio, heart health. Heart health, more women die of a heart attack than breast cancer. And yet you see more information about checking your breasts than they do about telling you to exercise. You also then have genitourinary syndrome of menopause, and this is all about pelvic floor, incontinence, and all the kind of things like increased infection into the bladder, and all of the way that that influences our life. You've then got bone health, cognitive health, which we touched on, and this most important, social and emotional well-being. So I can't go through all of this information in one go. Okay, it's just impossible. But what I will say is this: listen to the things that I'm going to tell you, because understanding the importance of exercise intervention to support your physical health has been shown to improve menopausal symptoms in women. Understand that exercise can also improve your mental health and well-being. And because this is so important, because if you're feeling anxious, self-conscious, embarrassed about the weight you've put on, you won't go to class. It's one of the reasons why I teach online. Excuse me. I teach online because it's accessible. I teach online because somebody who feels embarrassed can exercise in their bedroom without anybody else looking at them. We know exercise improves mental health and well-being, but it becomes crucial. It improves cognitive function. And you need to think about the intensity of the exercise, the choice of exercise. What can we do to help our body? But most importantly, what lifestyle changes can we make? Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to just sit there and wait for menopause to happen and go, oh, there we go. I'm cross. I'm cross that there's not more information out there. So cross that I wrote the course. I'm cross that you get this kind of well, you know, take antidepressants, or, you know, you can have HRT for 5 years because then we'll take you off HRT. What are you going to do then? You know, or you're too old to have HRT. Or no, you can't have testosterone. This is what I've been told. You can't have testosterone because doctors in Ceredigion are not allowed to prescribe it. Why? Do you want me to break a bone and be in hospital? Do you know the influence of testosterone on bone health? Do you want me to be infirm and require medical care in 30 years' time and stress out the NHS when testosterone is far cheaper? There are so many injustices out there for women. We need to wise up. We need to see that. Don't listen to fads. Don't think about, you know, what you look like on the inside. Think like, I am doing the best I can with the medicine that's available to me through my lifestyle to improve these areas of my body. I will give you as much information as I can about the things I've learned over the past 10 years from when I had my, well, probably more than 10 years, 2009 to now, what's that, 14 years? 14 years of research, from my dissertation to going through a horrible menopause, to writing a course, to being now seen as an expert in menopause and exercise. I will show you what I've learned. I'm not saying do what I do because it might not be suitable for you. You need to know yourself. You know who you are. You know all of the things that you bring to the table, but you also know the person who can do this is you. And you have that capability. You are never, ever too old, and it is never, ever too late to make the changes. And they don't have to be huge changes. They just can be little tweaks, whether that's walking more, carrying things, eating better, talking with people, making an effort. Because guess what? At the end of the day, when you make those changes, the person who benefits from it the most is you. You will feel better. And people around you will enjoy your company more. And you will enable other women to see your journey and kind of go like, have you been taking drugs? Are you on HRT? Where did you get that dress from? It looks really nice. Join me on Saturday morning when we talk specifically about belly fat. I haven't put the other talks up. I'm hoping you're going to give me some feedback. But having spent a lot of time today writing this talk, I'm going to attack all of those different areas in different ways. I'm going to post them onto YouTube. You can listen to it again. You don't have to watch me because, in all fairness, you don't need to see my face. You can just listen to me, put your earphones in, go for a walk and listen. And hopefully together we will feel, I hate the word empowered, but I can't think of another word, where you can say, I chose to do this for myself and my health. Nobody's making me do it. It's something I want to do, and it's something I'm choosing to do. And on that, I'm going to finish. I'll have a look at your comments. I'll try and answer your comments because your comments are really important. They're really important not just for me. They're important for you to be able to acknowledge your journey, to be accountable for what you're going to do. Maybe find a friend on there that will help you with it. It will give you opportunities to change. And if World Menopause Day or World Menopause Month enhances, makes it more visible that women have choices that they can choose that doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Yes, you're going to have to make changes to your life, but are you enjoying where you are now? I sometimes need to change when things get really bad. But recently what I found is when I do things that make me feel good, it becomes easier to do those things. All right. Enjoy. See you Saturday morning. If you want to come to Belly Fat, I've overrun time. I do apologise, but I could talk for this for hours, couldn't I? And please comment away, okay? Because commenting really helps you and other women. You might say something that somebody else kind of goes like, yeah, I feel like that. Because a lot of the time we hold things in, we pretend, don't we? We give that face of pretending that, yeah, we're all fine, when really we're not. And, you know, I've been there. We've all been there. It was part of my dissertation. Can you lie? All right, noswaith dda. Speak to you on Saturday. Hope you've enjoyed. Take care.